Okay, welcome back to another part of playing the game. So, I actually figured out this puzzle really quickly and I was a little bit sad that I was just not recording anymore. Where's my shields? I have 3 shields? Let's see, Captus Galena. The shields are gone. This is so weird. I don't understand why I would do that. The shields are supposed to be here. They just disappeared. Okay. Anyway, I could just load up this save. Right? It's so odd though. So it's supposed to be Septimius Arabia, Julius Caesar Galila, Augustus Aegyptus, I think. And then it's like Dacia at the end for Claudius, and then what's the other one? Anyway, totally don't understand why the shields are disappearing. We got a key, got the scroll, and we got the whatever that one is. ... Scattered shields seal panic and divert their security. Secure what? Scrutiny. Praetorians guard outside the door. ... Silent and deadly. I'll strike to the core. ... The dagger. No need for mercy. Have we read this already? I'm unsure. Also, I was looking it up and I think we didn't miss something, which is a good thing. Yeah, nice way to glitch out the shields, to be honest. Let's see, the next thing we need to be is at like... apparently it is at Gordian's temple. Where is that? Temple of Hercules, Tiber River, Tiberius, Tiber Island. Eventually we'll figure it out. I don't know, maybe the place isn't real even at this point. Who knows? I don't think we've read this, so let's just read that. No need for mercy. The sacrilege perpetrated on the shield of Mars at the Regia constitutes the most flagrant crime by members of the clandestine atheist cult that has recently received so much publicity because of their abominations. Not for nothing are they called the enemies of the human race. By denying the existence of all divinities except one crucified Jew, the said blasphemers disrupt the Pax Deorum, the peace of gods, and threaten our own admirable imperial peace on earth. They already provoked the wrath of Jupiter. Now they try the same with Mars. That much evil deserves no mercy and must be wiped out from Roman life. The sooner the better. I'm also a little bit confused about the desktop audio, because it might be a little bit loud. I think I read that though. Armi Lustrium. The Romans celebrated the traditional end of the war season yesterday, but my war with them has just begun. The Empire doesn't decide when a battle is to be waged. I do. The Empire doesn't decide when they will put up the standards. I do. The Empire doesn't decide when the shields of Mars are to be put away. I do. The Empire doesn't decide when it is time to attack. I do. And the time is coming. A plea to the Empress. She was left alone and I called out to her from behind the palace gates. She covered her surprise well. I asked her to help me regain my position with her husband. She did not answer. I asked her to help me build my business again. She only smiled. I asked her to help me cultivate my ever-growing powers. She smoothed her hair with her hand. I bent my ancient bones and knelt on the ground, reaching through the gates, begging her to help me. I'm not sure if I read that or not. It doesn't matter. Another crime. Calamidas has struck again. The shields of Mars, having just been returned to the Regia at the Celian by the Celian priest, were desecrated in the night. A figure in a cloak was seen running towards the Arch of Severus. The authorities blame the cult they now persecute, to which my poor mother belonged. Ridiculous. I lack the will it takes to ask questions and follow leads. I think I'll just stay on my couch today. A crime. The forum is buzzing with the news that Calamidas has struck again at another sacred place. The Regia was broken into and the shields of Mars were damaged. A witness says he saw a figure running beneath the Arch of Severus just after he heard the rattling of the shields coming from the Regia. In ancient time, the Regia was part of the Vestal compound. It has been a long time since war and virtue went hand in hand.
I awoke in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. I dreamed I was dying in the Colosseum. Beasts roared, gates swung, and the air was thick with horrible odors. A gladiator told me to kneel and make the sacrifice to the emperor, but I refused. I went to the window hoping fresh air would dispel the images, but they hung on in my mind. I knew then what my heart was trying to tell me. I no longer believe in the emperor. I no longer believe in Rome.
Oh no. What happened to Gordian? Well, he lost his kid, basically, also. Let's continue. God of War. Rumors circulate that Calamidas has struck again, this time at the Regia, and at the very heart of Rome's military might. The shields of Mars were destroyed, but this is a merely symbolic act. Rome won't stop waging its war of conquest, and Rome won't stop glorifying these wars as it does in the stone relief at the top of the Arch of Severus. Something more must be done. Rejected. Julia Domna put down her basket of cut blossoms and reached through the bars of the gates and raised me to my feet. She then turned over the basket and poured the flowers onto my feet. Then she smiled strangely and turned and walked away. She never said a word. I watched her until she disappeared into the palace. I gripped the bars of the gates, holding on for dear life, and I shook with the silent laughter of the feet. On the case, Quintus bullied me off my couch today and demanded that I act like the man he knows me to be. Who does he think I am? A proud, accomplished member of Roman society? I asked a few questions to make Quintus and myself feel better, but I got the same information that had been swirling in the rumor mill. The Regia, which is near the House of the Vestals, was broken into, and the shields of Mars were damaged. The culprit was seen running away. Did we have something like this before as well? I vaguely remember that. Don't really know what this is supposed to be representing. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. Confronted. Pomponia slapped me across the face the instant I walked in the door. Then she beat at my chest with her fists. She has been to the baths and heard I had been doing business with Soter. She heard that I had accepted his low bid on the insula. She heard I was responsible for Stella's death. She accused me of killing our daughter, and then she sent her slave to pack her belongings. Okay. A new road. I am considering initiation, being cleansed in water by a priest of the new faith. Now, if I could only say it aloud, I feel drawn to the man from Galilee. He is both a god and a man. He suffered as I suffer. The healing miracles he performs move me. And his resurrection? Tertullian says, Credo quia absurdum. He believes it because it is absurd. I think I understand what he means. If I believe in this new faith, will I find the strength to survive the hostile world? Cistern. A decision. I sat at the steps of the temple of Antoninus and Faustina, across the Via Sacra from the Regia. In the outer marble walls of the Regia, there are inscribed lists of the names of the consuls and the military triumphs. Below the pentagonal courtyard lies a large cistern for grain storage. Above lies death and destruction, and below the staff of life. I have decided never to tell Verania that I murdered the soldier that attacked her. It is for the best. Death? I bought a phial of powder that is made in Edessa, my birthplace, and that of Julia Domna as well. If I mix the powder with water and drink it quickly, before I put my cup down, I will be gone from this earth world. Should I return to my beginning? Should I end my time here and begin my stay in the unknown? A feather tickled my mind. No, it whispered. Live and see with closed eyes. A warning. Prefect Papinian and a few praetorians accosted me in the Via Sacra near the Temple of Venus and Rome. He had heard I was still poking my nose into the Calamides investigation. He poked his large, crooked and hairy finger in my chest to punctuate his words as he spoke. I was to mind my own business unless I could bring him some definitive evidence. Preferably a suspect in chains. Well, that's a bit contradictory. Mind your own business and find proof and evidence. I guess if he didn't have the evidence, then that you just not bother. A new fear. Verania insisted that we visit our friends. I was leery. What if the guards didn't let us back out? They are kept in deplorable conditions, and I kept looking around, fearful that the guards would lock us in with them. I admire our friends' faith and their eagerness to die in defense of it, but prison is a faith I would never survive. To be trapped like that behind walls of stone. ... Dissolution. I entered the Regia and used the V-disc to rotate the capstone on the floor. I proceeded to the courtyard where I rotated all the capstones to discover a word. I entered the archive room where I completed the phrase and opened the door to the Sacrarium Marches. I restored the shields of Mars by matching the provinces with the Roman rulers who conquered them, exactly as indicated in the Book of the Emperors. Trajan and Dacia, Severus and Arabia, August and Egypt. This is only like 3 pairs of the 5, so I don't know. But anyway, we did it. Well, could have figured that one out by trial and error. It wasn't the hardest part of the puzzle there, what I was missing. So, Faith. Sanctus and I bribed the prison guards to let us see our friends. They are kept in horrible conditions. Their eagerness to be witnesses for their faith, as Stephen the First Martyr, still disturbs me. But I admire the shining light of their faith in such a terrible darkness as the Tullianum prison. There will be a hearing next month where they will be required to perform the sacrifice to the Emperor. I know they will not. And then they will be tortured and die. They'll be tortured and killed. In Sybil's Alley, I replaced the fragment of the marble map. I found a passage that leads to rubble of the finance office. I followed the copper cable up the hill toward the Temple of Jupiter and down a narrow tunnel toward the relay station. I picked up the long fuse and used it to light the tunnel, where I found a short fuse. In the relay station, I adjusted the 2 fuses to restore the connection and open the switch, which we've done. My mind's eye. My powers have returned stronger than they ever were when I was a young girl. I see visitors before they arrive. I hear people before they speak. I can see days and months ahead. My head is a river of visions from the future. I can move objects without lifting a finger. I can imagine things that don't exist. I believe I can do anything I want. I only have to put my mind to it. Another loss. Pomponia has moved back to her father's house. She took most of the household furnishings and most of the slaves. She plans to divorce me as soon as the scroll can be written. I sit on the floor in a corner of my now empty home, without chairs or couches. Without my wife and without my children, I play with one of Stella's toys, a spinning top that goes round and round until it stops and falls over. What is left for me? A discovery. I stumbled through the forum trying to get home before the sun rose. I wasn't really drunk anymore, but I didn't have my balance. I stepped on a rusty grate in the street and it gave way. The fall was brief and I wasn't injured, but the amphora of wine I was carrying broke. I found myself in a subterranean passage beneath the streets. I heard a gasp behind me. I turned, and there they were, one who I had been chasing, and one who I thought I had lost forever. Face to face, Xanthus and I decided to return to the lair in case the Praetorians came back to Callistus's house looking for more members of the faith. We traveled at night, hoping to avoid discovery. We were walking quickly through one of the subterranean passages when I saw someone lying on the ground. The man had obviously fallen through a grate in the street. I gasped when we were close enough to recognize him. It was Lucius.
We were traveling at night to the lair, hoping that no soldier had been left behind to guard it. In the moment before Verenia saw him, I must have sensed his presence because my muscles tightened and my breath quickened. I was ready to run or fight. Then Verenia gasped and pointed over my shoulder at a man rising up from the ground. It was Lucius, and he saw us.
Oh, okay, I guess we're gonna have to fix the Navitor again for the last time. Oh yeah, of course we're gonna have a number again. Hymns. Winter is coming, and the situation in the city grows more perilous by the day. This workshop will not be safe much longer. The authorities will soon climb the building, although I have pulled some strings in an attempt to keep them away until you can finish your work. I do this in memory of Cornelius and for another reason, close to my heart, that I cannot yet reveal. And yet Calamidas is still at large. You are running out of time to identify this saboteur. Calamidas will use the chaos of the Saturnalia festival in December to cover his tracks. Remember Cornelius fondly, as I do, and beware. As you enter Rome's winter... ... I almost forgot. Cornelius left another code. 41. So 41. Easy peasy. So let's think about this. Like, we can trial and error this, right? So we should probably put the weight here, right? Yeah. Because if we put a weight on this side, it would be less pulling. We could have trial and error that, of course. So where's the winter door? Actually, you know, really weird though. This that's fine actually. It doesn't have the messed up colors like last time. It's over here. I have absolutely no idea how this works. So there's a couple of levers here. I could read up the solution here. Or I could trial and error it, but... Let's see, left to right, 1, 2, 3. Up and down, 1, 2, 3. It needs to be on 2, 3, and 2. Press the button and work quickly. B at 2. C at 3. B at 1. A at 1. That's confusing. So we have this. 1, 2, 3. We put them on 2, 3, and 2. Then we put B on I don't know how would you figure that one out. Because this one also, it matters. If you do it quickly, it should work, but if you do it too slowly, then it doesn't work. So we need 2, 3, 2, and then we go this one to 2, C to 3, and then B to 1, and then A to 1. That's so much work. B to 2, C to 3, B to 1, A to 1. How do I even remember that? 2, 3, 1, 1, B, C, B, A. 2, 3. This one, 2, 3, 1, 1. So difficult, right? How would you figure that one out?
There he was. The man I had been chasing all these months. Xanthus. And I saw her behind him. Her face turned away in the shadows. Verania. And in the moment I recognized her, I realized what had happened. Someone had saved her, and it hadn't been me. I had failed again. And then I lunged at them.
He attacked? Oh no. Possibilities. What should I do with my regained powers? Should I pursue good ends or evil ones? Which road will be more entertaining? If I pursue goodness, I think I will be bored. If I pursue evil, who should I go after first? Verania, who foiled my magnificent scheme of vengeance, or Gordian, who took such glee in denying me a new building, or Lucius, who had just simply bothered me with all his spying and sneaking around. Well, Gordian is definitely doing very poorly already, so I don't think you need to focus too much on him. Probably just Lucius. Looking for a friend. I went to Quintus's wine shop, hoping I would find Lucius. We aren't really friends. In fact, I am rather sure he doesn't like me much. I don't really like him. I was just hoping he could teach me how to drink wine until my sorrows disappear. Quintus poured me a cup of wine and listened to my troubles, but after a while we grew weary with each other and I left. Silent scream. The instant I guessed, I put my hand to my mouth in regret. Lucius turned and faced us. As he rose up from the ground, my mind reeled. Run, I thought, but I couldn't bring myself to speak. Run. I thought again, but my mouth opened and closed mutually. Then he was on us, and the three of us tumbled to the ground. A shock. After Verania gasped and I saw Lucius, everything moved in slow motion. Lucius rose up off the ground at quarter speed. Verania and I continued to put one foot in front of the other, but at a snail's pace. Then he was lunging for us, and the spell broke. From then on, everything happened extremely quickly. As soon as his hands touched me, I began to struggle to get away, but my sprained wrist hampered me. Another search. Perhaps I should try to find Xanthus. He could tell me his side of things. I don't know why I believed Lucius's version. There is probably a reasonable explanation for Xanthus's behavior. If he is a barbarian, he could teach me their ways. Maybe I could learn to hunt animals and live in a hut in a village near a forest. Maybe Xanthus has a way to make me forget all the pain I have caused myself and others. Yeah, poor Gordian. Fighting. We fought and struggled on the ground. It was impossible to get a hold of an arm or leg for very long. I felt weak, caught between the strengths of the two men. And then Lucius had me on the ground and I couldn't move under his weight. He held something sharp to my throat. I saw Xanthus standing free above me. It was then the word came loud and clear. Run. I thought, and run, I screamed. The skirmish. For a drunk Roman, Lucius was a lot stronger than I thought he would be. Verania held her own in the fight, but mostly she just got in the way. Each time I thought I had Lucius pinned, Verania moved in such a way that I lost my grip or landed on my injured wrist. Fortunately, she had the same effect when Lucius had me pinned. And then he had her and I was standing free. She screamed run, and I did. Okay. Power. I don't need customers anymore. If I need sesterces or gold, I silently suggest it to a simple-minded moneylender in the forum, and I have all the funds I need, with no records kept on the loan. If I need food, I just plant the notion in the dim mind of a food merchant, and Custis' arms become burdened with fruit, fish, wine, and vegetables. Perhaps I could get the funeral building in this manner. Am I able to move the complicated mind of Gordian? Oh, that's a... Up the Palatine. I don't know how I was gonna say what I was gonna say there. Yeah, you don't want to get into Gordian's mind, I don't think, at this point. I held her close to me as we walked in the dawn light. She struggled only occasionally to get away, but I held her firmly. Her breath was hot and quick on my face, and I could feel her heart pounding in her chest. At the palace I asked to see Prefect Papinian. I had my suspect in chains. As we waited, she glared at me silently. Then the doors opened and in walked, not the prefect, but the emperor. A job well done. The temple of the guardian spirit of the emperor is completed. The finishing touches were put on yesterday. I cleared the site south of the temple of Saturn and paid off the loss of the workers. Then I personally locked the doors. All is ready for the reading of the auguries. I will have to have a private word with the augur to make sure he predicts wonderful things for the new building. So, Temple of Saturn. There's a lot of dots over here. It's over here, right? Doesn't even say where we are. Don't know where this temple is. Templum Geni Severi Augusti. Is it this? Is it this? I guess it must be this. So supposedly it's finished now, but the event for us actually entering there, it hasn't yet started. Right. Let's see if we can go the relay station. Let's check this out. I don't think there's much to be seen here, but we'll check it out anyway. Nothing changed here. This actually doesn't work. You can only go there one time. Nothing changed here. A tribute to Admire. The curator, Fori Gordian, announced the completion of the new temple dedicated to the genius of our most powerful and most fortunate Emperor Septimius Severus, which he has built on his own initiative. This makes an achievement to be commended. The temple is an elegant edifice just south of the Temple of Saturn, decorated with costly marble and in every respect fitting rigorous taste of the new Golden Age. The official consecration of the temple in the presence of the Emperor and the sacred imperial family is scheduled to take place at the end of this month. Right, we'll keep an eye on that.
There was no one in the streets as Lucius dragged me up the hill to the palace. I thought I had a few chances to get away, but each time he pulled me closer to him. I noticed for the first time that he had a scar on his cheek that hadn't been there when I knew him before. It made him look angrier and less noble. I didn't resist after that. I knew there would be no getting away.
A vision of Verania. Her image floats in the future behind my eyes, before my eyes. She will soon kneel before the Emperor. She will plead with him for mercy for others. He will give her gold and wine and food and a home, but will he give her the mercy she requests? I do not know. The stars do not light the way that far into the future. Water and air. I ran and ran until I thought I couldn't take another stride. And then I ran some more. My lungs ached for air and my muscles begged for rest. But I ran on. I finally stopped outside the city, near the enormous Claudian aqueduct. I collapsed under one of the supports. For a while, all I heard was my own heavy breathing and the rushing of the water from overhead. Then I slept. The night again. Severus circled Verania, inspecting her closely. She stood still, but closed her eyes as he hesitantly reached out to pinch her arm. Satisfied that she was not a shade, he addressed her. I interrupted, hoping to explain that I believed she was responsible for some of the destructive acts blamed on Calamidas. Severus ignored me, but gestured to a guard who stepped forward and roughly escorted me off the palace grounds. A vision of Lucius. His image floats in the future before my eyes. He will soon take a horse from the emperor. He will ride through Italian nights and days. He will seek those who live beyond the laws of Rome. Will he find them? Will they accept him as one of their own? I do not know. The stars do not light the way that far into the future. A believer. Severus acted like a superstitious fool when he first saw me. I suppose he thought I was some spirit come from the underworld to haunt him. After he ordered Lucius taken out, the emperor asked me to sit. He looked at my filthy tunic in disgust and asked if I needed some proper clothes. I shook my head no. He then poured himself some wine and asked me to tell him my story. Well, that's pretty generous of the emperor to actually have her tell the story. Solace. My home is empty. My infant son Marcus is gone, and so is my beautiful Stella. Pomponia, my wife and the companion in grief, is gone as well. All ties severed. Only one slave remains. He has been with my family since before I was born. I stand in the kitchen by the warmth of the cooking fire, stirring a pot of bean soup. The slave doesn't offer to help me. He knows I need the distraction of a spoon going around in circles. The search. I tried to find Verania. If she had gotten away, she might have gone to the lair or back to Callistus's, but both were empty. If Lucius had held on to her, where would he have taken her? I went up to the palace, but security had been stepped up. There was no way to find out if she was there. I should go somewhere she knows and wait for her. I cannot lose her now. We'll do 2 more days, I guess. See how that goes. Despair. What's the point? The lament of my failure grows seemingly by the hour. I failed in the military and at the law. I failed as a son and as a potential member of an imperial family. I failed as a suitor to a vessel, and I failed as a rescuer. I failed as an investigator more than once. I am sick to my stomach with failure, and cannot even swallow a sip of wine. Will I fail as a drunkard as well? Alright, 1 more day done. For good measure. Freedom. When I was done telling my tale to Severus, he sat in silence for a while. Then he told me that he would provide me with the funds to live out my life in luxury. There was a domus in the Suburra that I could live in. He would issue a statement that I had survived execution by the will of Vesta and that I was innocent of all charges. I had been given a new life, but it did not seem to hold as much promise as the one I had earned on my own. Listen to the oracle. I am Sybil. The end of time is near. The oceans will run red with blood. Children will devour their parents. Beasts will devour the children. The sun will not shine. The clouds will rain death. Thunder and lightning will destroy the temples, and the gods will be no more. So I wonder if there's gonna be like an Acta Diurna that says, oh hey, the Vestal Virgin, Verania, is actually innocent. Or if that's like a... I think it's more like a... well, behind closed doors agreement. That's what I think. It's behind closed doors, but who knows. Anyway, thanks for the attention. Goodbye.